my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me?
And welcome everyone to the Man Cave, and also it is TST Toy Soldier Tuesday. My name is Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is season number 1, episode number 34, and waiting in the green room is probably the largest name in Toy Soldiers since Lewis Marks himself, Mr. Ron Barzso. But before we get to him, let me bring out my rabble of friends tonight. Starting off, we'll start off with this gentleman right here. This guy can open a pickle jar up the very first time he tries. This is Mr. Joseph Baker. Joe.
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Right on. Glad you joined us. Appreciate that.
Always good to be here.
Moving up the chain here, we got this gentleman right here. When Sergeant Slaughter sees this guy coming, he gets out of the way. This is Mr. Dan, the man, Leather Dan.
Hey, everybody.
Thought I'd throw you the wrestling theme tonight, man. You all right with
we could do that. We got the sleeper hold, the $1 million dream.
And this man was raised by wolves till he was 14, and then he was raised by mountain lions till he was 19. This is Mr. John Salatellis.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing, brother?
It's me and Little Paul here.
Mini me. That's mini me. And finally, this man is a criminal. He's a vigilante. He's a menace to society, but that's what we love about him. This is Mr. Sexy himself, Rick Bradshaw. How you doing, Rick?
Howdy, everyone. How's everyone tonight?
You are a menace to society. Did you know that?
Some people do, yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of people already. Look at that, man, lining up to talk to our special guest tonight, Mr. Ron Barzso. Let's see, go down the list. John, why don't you take over with the list tonight?
Michelle I think just joined in. Patrick, how's it going? My master modeler, Bruce Nogel, Lone Wolf, Moondoggy, John Vincevich, Big Boss Jack, Tom L, and Barb Flowers. Dan, that's you. Paul, that's you. Yeah, that's it.
You said
and
Patrick.
whoever else is listening, nice to have you.
Yeah, we got a lot of people listening, not chiming in. Bruce.
Welcome to the lurkers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Jason.
Jason just joined us.
Amen.
Jason Evans, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, as always, I'm going to go around the room and say what's new in your zoo. Joe, you didn't say you had a lot to talk about, but I'm still going to give you the opportunity. What's new in your zoo?
Nothing new as far as Toy Soldiers. I did discover that my website expired, and I decided probably not going to renew it. So look for my pictures in some other form, some other time. I'll keep you informed about that. Otherwise, the place that added on Facebook will have some of the new ones.
And that was
photo book on the way. Photo book.
Yeah, probably. Probably. That'd be a good idea.
Need to. All righty, sir. Thank you. Dan the man, what you got, brother?
Hey, everybody. I got something unusual. I'm not really familiar, but you guys are going to help me out with this because these are a friend's figures. He knows I'm on the show and he wanted me to show some of his stuff. I guess this is the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine figures. So I thought they were sorted by color, but before the show, I was told that I now have to go through each one of the figures, and determine which branch of the service they belong to. So I've got these ones. They came in, I got gray, this light blue, army green, and then this really cool, nifty metallic blue. So, and just keep it going along here. I'm just going to show you just some of the figures I picked out here. And as usual, I'm going to pick out the really interesting ones. There's a Navy guy with his duffel bag.
Yep, carrying a sea bag. Yep.
Yeah, I guess he's not strong enough to throw it over his shoulder. He's just going to drag it along. Because, let's just drag it on the ground. And then I was informed that this is, for a carrier guy landing the planes.
No, that's a semaphore guy giving.
Oh, is he signal flagging?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm a G.I. Joe collector. G.I. Joe collector. Every time I see this, I think of the guy, the landing.
If you really care, they don't use those anymore. So that was.
And then we got get a couple guys here. We got this guy here. I guess he's a shore patrol guy, and he's. Dude, you got to check that. Look at that guy. This guy.
Flexing his muscles, baby.
Oh my God, this guy's got some serious. He's got some.
He's checking everybody coming in drunk from the weekend, man. He's got to check him at the gate.
Yeah, let's get that. And then we got another guy here. He looks like he's lifting, sort of like go and grab some weights. He's gonna grab himself a missile and do some bench press here.
Your microphone.
Playing, so I don't know what he's doing. So and then we got another guy here. I guess this is half of a tug of rope contest.
Yeah, half of it.
Should
be about 10 more guys on that line.
Yeah. You go. And then we got the all important. Like I said, I want a couple more here, guys. The all important bugler, the one that everybody hates. So I'll probably find him on the floor somewhere. They get kicked out of the bag because the guy with the bugle. And is this the guy the shore patrol guy is looking for? Can you see him?
Oh yeah, he's drunk. He's on the ground.
He's sitting on his butt here, drinking up. Either that or he's doing some yoga. Yeah. And then I think this is a Billy the Yank relative. So entertaining everybody. His rope is a heck of a lot bigger than what Billy has, but.
What's the thing?
Right.
But yeah, they're really cool. So I'm gonna leave it to you guys to tell me what I got here. I really don't know that much about them.
We'll walk you through it. Don't worry.
But that's what I have. It's really cool. And I've got some other stuff. I got this other play set. I'm gonna set up. Give me a couple weeks to dig through and figure what I got. And then next week I got something absolutely terrifying to show you. So you watch next week because it's gonna be terrifying. The scariest thing you've ever seen in your life.
I'm already scared.
Worse than those marching figures you had last week?
Oh my God. This is terrifying. I've got them boxed up in another room. I'm so scared of them.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, John, what you got for us, brother?
Okay, you told me I got about a minute and a half, so I put a timer on. First thing I got today, I received it actually. I didn't put it together. It's 3D printed, I guess from China. It's like a little German bunker. It's got about 12 or 10 figures inside, some furniture. Comes in 135 and 132. I ordered 132. I'm not sure I got 132, but I put it next to a Forces of Valor guy, and they're kind of the same. That my guys are a little thin, but we'll make it work. We always do. Mars finally re-released the much maligned British paratroopers. World War II, and they're available. I guess you can get them on eBay. You can get them on Hobby Bunker. They're available, so we'll get them because they're actually really nice here.
Yeah.
There you go. Overall, getting stuff together with a casino. The orders are coming in. We got about 6 slots left for the pre-sale. They should be shipping by the end of the week. Yeah, and of course they're going to be in Chicago as well, but at the regular price. But we'll see what we can do. The pre-sales we're throwing in some other stuff as well. For those who ordered it, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. You know who you are. Love you guys. Thanks for the support. And we'll send you tracking numbers when they ship. And since we have that nice roof on the casino, I tried to make a kind of like a double barrel swilling flak. I used Lego pieces. I used stands from old machine guns from I think it could be Marks or something else ideal. And this top is from the tanks, the patent tanks that BMC released.
Yeah.
And that's it. Whoever wants a book, they're still available. I'm bringing some to Chicago. Hope I don't run out. You can email me battalion132@yahoo.com or through Facebook. I want to thank Christian Aldo. New video out. Thank you very much, brother, for mentioning the book and giving me a shout out. Really appreciate it. And my timer's ringing. I'm done. Thanks, guys.
That's it. You're out of here. Yeah, I did like his new video. He didn't mention me at all, and I'm having him set up my table and sell stuff. What the hell? He didn't mention me at all.
Damn.
Hey, Paul,
right.
I forgot something to show something. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, we can't go back. Sorry.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's how we roll. That's how we
It
roll.
was actually the coolest thing I had. And
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm
Not
sorry,
the
Rick.
Rick's time. Oh yeah.
This. Yeah, I
You
totally
did.
forgot I had this. But
You
this is
did
part of
get
that
the Armed
set.
Forces.
Is this part of those set?
Yeah.
Not that box you have, but it's part of that set. Yeah.
The plastics I just showed, is that part of that? Because
Yeah.
it was with them.
Yes.
It's a training center.
Is that the training center? Yeah.
Oh, yep. So, but
Yeah.
it's in beautiful condition too.
Yeah, it looks it's amazing.
So, all right. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to take more time. Sorry, Rick.
That's all right.
Please forgive me.
You can
Hey,
take
Rick?
my time.
Hey
Yeah.
Rick.
Yeah.
We're cutting him out of the club.
Thank God.
Don't
Oh,
worry.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Tonight's his last night. Don't worry.
Oh,
And I burned a candle yesterday and everything.
so Patrick Grain messaged me a little while ago, earlier today. He's interested in the Hammond collection dinosaurs I've been using in my toy soldier photography. So he wanted to know the scale. And I believe these are 1/18 scale. So here's a 1/18 figure. So it gives you an idea of the size.
Oh, that's cool. I like the figure too.
That's a Dime Novel Legends.
Oh, okay.
Sweet. Love
So
it.
it gives you a scale.
Yeah, but you've been using 1/32 scale in some of those pictures you've been doing.
Oh, that's that's what I'm using
Yeah,
the whole
okay.
time. But well, they're not that the size doesn't affect, dinosaurs can be big and small and
Yeah.
all kinds of things. So the other thing I got, thanks to Paul's video about scavenger toys pillbox.
Ah,
Oh yeah.
So I went on their site and I got some guys.
that's
Wow.
a cool pose. Yeah,
That's a
I
nice
like that.
guy. That's a nice pose.
Yeah, cool pose.
Very nice.
So there's 4 guys in the set. 3 of them have good poses. One's just a walking guy.
132 or 130, Rick?
I think they're true 132. To be honest with you,
Just 132.
Yeah.
they're
that's
pretty
what they-
close to 21st century's 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, which company is this again?
This is Scavenger Toys.
Scavenger toys. Yeah.
Through Facebook, correct, or eBay?
I went through eBay.
Okay.
There's one other one with his Thompson.
Look
Nice.
at that.
That looks pretty good.
Nice pose.
Yeah, good
Yep.
posing. And then the last one,
Good proportions too.
yeah, everything looks really good. The weapons look good. This one's bent, so I'm gonna have to play around with it and try to straighten.
That's
it
why
up.
he's walking.
Yeah.
Can't shoot it, so he's got to walk.
And Michelle said size doesn't matter. So she said it. I didn't say it.
family friendly. Okay, I'm not going there. And then they were nice enough to send me some dead guys.
Oh yeah,
It's always good to get a bag full of dead guys.
Yeah.
So they threw them in there extra. 2 poor dead Germans.
He's
Maybe they're
swimming.
just sleeping.
He's not dead. He's swimming.
He's swimming. He's swimming. That's it. That's what I got.
Paul B just joined us. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for jumping
John, did you open those Mars British dudes?
They're right here. I mean, they're open. Yeah.
Can you show one of them? Because
I'm kind of digging the Mars stuff. I bought a couple of their sets.
Let me bring that up there. We'll see.
They're
nice posing.
yeah, they're
pretty
Pretty
huh?
good.
They're really nice. I really like them. These are the same. There's 8, I believe, 8 poses or
yeah. You usually get what is it, 2 of each? Or
2 of each.
yeah.
Uh,
You have to grab those.
and the
Very
Cool.
cool.
very nice. And the guys, the for the machine gunner. It's a mortar. He's putting in the.
We can't see it. You're down too
Oh,
low.
sorry.
Oh, there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, two-piece, yeah,
Two-piece,
that's-
yeah, beautiful.
Nice.
You know what, Rick? What I liked about the Thompson guy was that he's got the muzzle pointing up a little bit. And if you ever fired one of those things, they tend to kick up a lot.
Yeah. They're nice, great detail. But you said, Paul, that they're a little fragile, right?
The Mars ones? No.
No.
The ones you
Scavenger.
bought.
Yeah, the ones I bought.
Yeah, I think they're a little brittle, but I mean, the resin stuff usually is. The only one I found that wasn't was Toy Soldier Central, man.
Yeah.
They got some good stuff. So, hey, I got one thing to show, and this is just a continuation from last night's. Thanks to you, Rick.
Oh.
Joy Toy has arrived.
Nice.
118 scale.
Yeah. You get him off Amazon?
I hate you, Rick. I hate you, Rick. I hate you, Rick. Rick, I was never into 118 scale until Rick got me started when we went to Louisville last month.
Oh, you need 118 scale cowboys next.
I think I got 10 of them lined up on my shelf right over here. So. Well, hey guys, we got a special guest. I don't think it gets more special than this, does it, Joe? I don't know, man. You know, I thought we were living large when we had you on the show. To be honest with you, I never thought I'd get you on the show. And then, you know, we had Rusty Kern on. I was like, man, we're moving up. You know, people are watching the show, and now Mr. Ron Barzso himself, man. I don't know. This is I've been starstruck. I've been starstruck all week. I know he's an old friend of yours, but you know, I have his play sets. I have most of his figures that came out, but never met the guy. And we've talked several times over the last 2 weeks. I hope he's excited to be on the show as I am to have him on here, Mr. Ron Barzso.
Hey guys.
Welcome, Ron.
Sir, it is an honor and a privilege to have you on my show.
Well, thank you so much. That's some kind words. Thank you.
We just started this show this January, and I never thought I would get to the level to have you on, sir. But it is an honor. So I'm sure you're gonna have a ton of questions from the chat room tonight. I know you wanted to tell us a lot of stories about, you know, getting started with the play sets yourself. I don't know what direction you want to take this tonight. You're in charge.
I'll just answer questions, and my good friend Mike Kutnick calls me Mr. Windy because he thinks I talk too much. So this is my chance to blab, huh?
This is it. This is your chance, man. The show is yours, sir.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull us all in here so we can get you in the middle there. You can see us all, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, and like I said, don't worry about the chats on the right. I'll pull those in as the show goes on. So maybe the first question to start off with is, why did you get started in with the play sets? What led you to? I know you were a school teacher. I know you're a historian by trade, but why the toy play sets?
Well, I got into it again, you know, in my 30s. I just wondered, I was at a hobby shop and I said, you know, do people collect those old Marx figures and stuff? And the guy said, no, that's a bunch of garbage. Nobody does. Nobody likes that. And somebody overheard me and said, oh, yeah, they do. There's even a Toy Soldier show. And I said, really? And that was Gary Wendell. And Gary and I became best buddies, great pal down in Indianapolis. And I went to several shows and just loved it. But being a school teacher and being frugal, having 3 kids at home, you know, I'd come with $60 that I had saved all year. And $60 didn't go too far when I'm competing with other guys with hundreds of dollars. And so I said to my wife, what a guy should do, and she always runs when she hears me say what a guy should do. But she said, what should a guy do? And I said, a guy should get into, somebody's got to make new toy soldiers in the old style. And so, well, you know, I started kind of checking it out and going to different plastics companies. And I'll never forget, I went to Comet Injection Mold Makers in Chicago, and they're a famous mold maker. And I said, I would like to make an eight-piece mold, you know, for injection molding. And what would that cost? They said, well, you know, for those figures, it would only be about $100,000. And I went, whoa, I don't think the hobby can support that. And so I started kind of noodling around, and I got books on plastics, resins, all kinds of stuff. And then I went to a Kane County antique flea market show and toy show. And there was a guy there that had some pretty neat resin figures. And I said, where did you get those made? And he said, I got them made from a couple guys down in Indiana. And so I said, really? What's their name? And he told me, and I went down and talked to the guys, and I told them what I wanted to do. And they said, yeah, maybe we could do that for you. I think we could. And then I started looking around for a sculptor, and in Military Miniature Society of Illinois had a booklet at their show, and one of the guys advertising in it was Ken Osen, as a sculptor of miniatures. And so I got a hold of him, and at first he was like, I don't do toy soldiers. I do stuff for museums and stuff. I wouldn't want it to get out that I was making toys. But I had money and he needed the money, so we arrived at an agreement. And then as we were he was sculpting the figures. It was so thrilling for me to get his figures in the mail because they were so beautiful. But I had no idea how we were going to make the buildings. And I thought maybe urethane resin, and you'd fold it while it was still warm, and all kinds of crazy things. And he said, look, I know a company in Michigan that makes this foamed resin stuff. And he showed it to me, and I thought, well, it's kind of lightweight, but yeah, we'll give it a try. And so I'll never forget the buildings that we first came up with the longhouse and the wigwams and all that stuff. And for the Northwest Passage, or the Rogers Rangers set. And that's what I really wanted. I thought, isn't anybody going to make a Northwest Passage set? I just love Rogers Rangers. I love that old movie, Northwest Passage. And I realized if I ever was going to get it, I'd have to make it myself. And so we did.
So why that era? I mean, a lot of your places, I know you're kind of all over the place, but really that French and Indian era seems to be your niche, man.
Yeah. Well, it's I've read a lot of Alan Eckert books about the French and Indian War, and I just thought it was so interesting. And like I said, I love the old Spencer Tracy film. And I thought, Rogers Rangers was such an interesting group. Somebody's got to do them. And that's how it got started. And I was told by Toy Soldier Company that after several years, the most popular era was World War II. Second most popular era has always been Civil War. And he said, and after you came out with all your stuff, French and Indian War became the third most popular era for collecting toy soldiers, which is really fun.
That's cool.
How many play sets did you make for the first Rogers Rangers?
Well, we made 300, and they sold so quickly that we made another 300. So there are 600 Rogers Rangers play sets out there. And the reason that we switched the box art from black to green was a collector from Texas called and said, I really wanted that box to be green. And I said, well, quite honestly, I silk screened those boxes with my brother-in-law all night long. One night at his sign shop. He worked at a sign shop in Ohio, and we worked all night. We were allowed to use the shop at night when it wasn't being used. And I said, the black ink is like real inexpensive, and green is real expensive. He said, well, I'll pay for the green ink as long as I get a green box. I went, sold. So he bought the ink, and we did 300 more in green.
Why did he want it in green? What was his reasoning?
He just thought it looked better. He just thought
really?
It looked
okay.
better.
The Rangers figures are green, and
green, exactly.
Kind of the theme of the set.
So there you go. Yeah.
Dan, you want to hit him up with some of your questions, because you had that list, and I know Joe had a list. And
well, I'm very interested. You already covered some of the topics here. I was just really interested how you came about creating this and start from the ground. I mean, you're going around talking to people and forming the whole all the way. I'm just curious about how you decided, what sets you wanted to do, how what order you decided to do them in. I'm kind of curious about that. Was it a financial thing, or is this all just, I want to do this?
Well, a lot of it was, I want to do this because I grew up, in the late 50s, early 60s. And I thought I was really connected into it. And I kind of thought, whatever I liked, I think other people would like. And I tried to think of it in terms of Marx did so many great play sets, but what eras did they miss? And that's why, of course, we did Battle of New Orleans as our second set, because I thought I just would have made a really cool box art. And then I found Ron Lazordi to do the box art for that set. And it's just, I thought it was a beautiful box. And Ken Osen did all the sculpting for that set too.
You got a question from the chat room. Patrick Rain wants to know, do you have any play sets in the works?
No. There, I leave that to younger people. I'm 76 and we've been retired, and I've got 3 grandsons that play baseball. Each of them play on 2 teams. And from about April 1st to October 30th, we're going to ball games almost every day, and it's so much fun. We just love it. Yeah. So
I know we talked backstage yesterday, and you were mentioning about some play sets you thought about, but you never followed through. Can you talk about those?
Oh, I'd love to, because I think this is interesting stuff. One of the sets that we thought about doing was a Frankenstein.
Yeah,
and that was way towards the end. And in fact, the Duke's Tower, the Duke's Stronghold, which is a really neat, huge tower, was kind of like, we started thinking in terms of, Frankenstein's tower, like castle, and then and at the time, I wanted to do something really, really cool with, maybe sell Frankenstein separately in 2 or 3 different poses, and then some townspeople, and you could kind of add on to the set. And Marianne and I went to Las Vegas to the licensing show, and I had an appointment at Universal to talk to them, and just didn't work out. Where they were so busy, he was going to squeeze me in for a few minutes, and I kind of got the vibe that Frankenstein was still a hot item, and they wanted a lot of money for it, and we just kind of took a pass. One of the sets we had thought about doing was Forbidden Planet, the famous 50s sci-fi movie.
Yep.
But I could never figure out how to act. What is the main piece? Like Last of the Mohicans, you've got the cliff and you've got the little Indian village. What do you do for Forbidden Planet? The spaceship is too large, and so I just could never figure that one out. I thought Time Machine, almost did Time Machine, the other really cool science fiction movie. A couple that we actually started work on after we did Daniel Boone with Fess Parker. He was a wonderful man, and we got a call a couple months later after that set came out from his lawyer, Chuck Bargiel, and Chuck said, Fess wants to know if you'd be interested in doing a Disney play set based on Davy Crockett, Indian Warfare, and Davy Crockett at the Alamo. And I went, are you kidding me? Disney's impossible to get into. The license, they deal in tens of thousands of dollars, and we would make money for these companies, but not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe, we probably sent, $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000 to 20th Century Fox over the course of our working with them. But and Fess said, I know people on the board at Disney. I can make this happen. Don't worry about how small the project has to be. And so we actually started work on Davy Crockett Indian Warfare. And we had a couple of figures started, and then sadly, Fess passed away. Yeah, and then Chuck called me back and said, "Yeah, the deals we don't have our in at Disney anymore, so that deal's fizzled out." And one of the ones that I thought was really interesting is we were approached by the heirs to the Babe Ruth family, and they wanted me to do a play set based on Babe Ruth, and I'm thinking, what is that? Eating hot dogs, swinging the bat? I'm not sure how that works. And we kicked it around a little bit, but in the end, we didn't do that either. But yeah, we had some other, and people were always giving me all kinds of ideas and Lone Ranger and that kind of stuff. But we always it was kind of fun to be able to pick our own ideas. You know.
Patrick asked another question. Why did you stay away from World War II?
That's a very good question, and I'll tell you that number one, if you notice, the muskets are all kind of look alike, and swords and all that kind of looks alike. When you get into World War II, you have to be very careful about making the weapons look really right and all that kind of stuff. And I quite honestly never did anything with Vietnam, Iraq War, World War II. It was a little too close to the reality of war, and I liked doing stuff that's kind of buried in history, and we can play with and not actually think about the violence and destruction that occurred.
Oh.
You know?
I completely understand that. It's kind of funny. I was talking to somebody today about that when I did a lot of war gaming, and one of the war games I always kind of was not really thrilled about was doing like World War II or anything with Americans. I would do like Soviets and Germans, that type of fight. But I always had a problem with the Americans. I enjoyed collecting the figures and such, but there's a reality when you're talking to people. I had parents and relatives that fought.
Exactly.
So it does bring a reality. I completely understand that.
Yeah, and I think that's why you can see we did several camp sets. They're really kind of nonviolent. A Civil War camp, Rangers in camp, Revolutionary War camp. Mm-hmm. It was just I started getting away. We at the very end, right before I sold the business. We were doing some design work for medieval civilians, and I wanted to because I wanted them, and I thought, well, maybe we could just even break even, but I want those figures. And now, of course, with companies like Spira and 3D printing, you have thousands of figures to choose from. Of that stuff.
John Vincevich has a question. He says, "What's your favorite set of all time?" Now, I don't know if that means your sets or all sets. I'd say all sets, probably.
Okay. Well, I guess the favorite set that we did, I think, would have to either be there's a tie. Daniel Boone, because we got to meet Fess Parker. And I mean, at one point, Fess was such a hero to all of us growing up. And then for him, at one point, we had breakfast with him, and he said, I was calling him Mr. Parker. And he said, oh, no, I'm Fess and you're Ron. We're friends now. And I thought, I am friends with Fess Parker. I was so excited. That was cool. And that one, and then also Last of the Mohicans was really fun because we got to go behind the scenes at 20th Century Fox for a day. I was at a show at the West Coaster selling, and a guy came up and handed me his card, and he said, I'd like to have a lunch if you have time when you're in town. And it was Chris Vogler, who was a producer at 20th Century Fox and was a collector. And I met him and Alan Adler, and they said, we'd really like you to consider doing a playset based on one of our movies. And I thought, these guys are asking me to do business with them. Okay. And so I called the lawyer they had in charge of writing the contract and negotiating for licensing rights. And I said, I'm not sure where to begin with this. I've never dealt with a large company like yours and stuff. And she said, look, I have been told by the people upstairs that this deal is to go through. So here's what we do. You make me an offer and I accept. I went, all right. So we offered, I think they got 10% of our gross income on that set, and we had to pay it quarterly. And, they made a lot of money. It fell out of the sky for them. Nobody was ever going to do toy soldiers based on Last of the Mohicans. And then I flew out and spent a day at the studio. They let me go through their archives and look at, I've got some great stills from Last of the Mohicans. And then I looked at, they still had a whole bunch of artifacts, props from the movie, rubber tomahawks and all that kind of cool stuff that we actually had. They let me borrow those for the debut of the show in Chicago back in 1996.
Oh wow!
And,
That's so
yeah,
cool.
it was so cool, and I had all kinds of cool stuff from them, and they actually let me. This is the cool part. They said you have a budget, and we will charge you minimal amounts for stuff. Like they made copies, 8x10 glossies of all these cool pictures from the movie. And I think they charged me like $2 or $3 per one of those. And then they let me go up into the blueprint room. And we were looking at blueprints, and they had drawers. Here's all the blueprints from the set design for Cleopatra, drums along the Mohawk. All these. I was just like, wow. And we opened up the drawer for Last of the Mohicans, and I would, pick out something. Oh, I want this 32-pounder French cannon. And they went, yeah, okay. And it cost me, I think, $10. He said, I will just charge you $10 and $5 for this, $5 for that. And I got I came home with 30 blueprints from the set design from the movie. And then we actually designed the accessories and the fort based on those blueprints.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and how much fun was that,
Right.
to have these gigantic blueprints, and I sold a bunch of those too.
Who did the sculpting on that set?
Ken Olsen.
He was still doing it.
Here's a fun one. I hired a guy who did beautiful work for me on the Mike Fink keelboat set. Mike Fink, I think, and is just a gorgeous figure. I think
He's great.
And yet I said, I want you to do the Indians, and he sent me a few, like four. He did 4 Indians, and I'm going to hold up one of them, and you'll see why I never made it. And this is not to disparage anyone, but sometimes you ask people to change genres and they can't do it. Here is the Indian who was never made from Last of the Mohicans. He's too skinny. He's way too small, and his head's too little. And I didn't like him. And so I kind of said, thanks anyway, paid him his money and sent him on his way.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ken Olsen came to the rescue. I did the rock piece myself. We went out to North Carolina where they filmed that. And I tried to get down to the where they shot the part of the movie, the Indian Village. And the guy there said, yeah, we don't go down there. There are too many snakes, too many venomous snakes. And I said, well, yeah. And he said, no, we're not going there. I'm not taking you. And I'm not a big fan of venomous snakes myself. So we took a pass on that part. But yeah, Ken did the sculpting on that. And I think he did a great job. Yeah.
You did do a World War II set. Tom L. in the chat said the road to Stalingrad with TSSD.
Of course, but we used TSSD figures, and they were Germans and Russians that he had already produced. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
How did that come about? How did that joint venture come about?
Well, we had talked about it, and I was always really, really interested in the World War II, part of World War II, between the Germans and Russians. Not so much anymore, because I want nothing to do with Russia and Russians. Sorry if you like them, but they were quite valiant. In fact, 80% of World War II was fought between the Germans and Russians, as far as casualties and ammunition and all that. And I thought, why reinvent the wheel? Nick did a nice job on those figures. And so I approached him, and we were good buddies. And a shout out to Nick, wherever he is. Love the guy. And we were good friends. And I said, why don't we do a joint venture? You supply the figures. I'll get all the accessories sculpted, all the buildings. I'll get the box art done. And we'll go from there. And so that's how we did that. And we just split the deal 50-50.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what made you decide on that scale of figure, the 1/32 scale? Because I know Nick's were like 54, 56 millimeter, a little bit bigger.
A
Was there
little bit bigger, yeah. Well, I just kind of like it was the scale that I had grown up with. Most Marx figures. When we made, if you notice, we did Lewis and Clark. I did go to the bigger scale, and I think it was a mistake. In quite honestly, because those figures don't go real well with all the other figures we made, and so the Blackfeet kind of don't go with the other figures that we had come out with, and certainly the crew didn't fit with the other figure, pioneers that we had done.
Yeah,
They were great sculpts, though.
They were. That was Jay Richardson, genius, just a genius sculptor. Yeah, he did all the Robin Hood figures too.
How did you meet all these sculptors? I mean, it's just I know you said you made a call out, but I mean, it's just
Yeah.
is this one person contacts you, or are people submitting work to you?
Some guys would send me a test figure and say, this is what I do. And I would think sometimes I'd say, well, yeah, don't quit your job at the bakery. Trust me. And other people did beautiful work, but were way too expensive. People would contact us. Sometimes I would go to Wargamer shows and meet people. Certainly Jim Holloway, who did so many beautiful figures for us, was a guy that I talked to at a garage kit show, where they made those big 12-inch garage kits back in the day. And I talked to him and I said, can you do 54 millimeter figures? Sure. And just boom, did them. And he was great. And the sad news is he was going to do some more figures for us, and his health finally declined to where he couldn't work anymore. His eyesight got too bad, which was really, really sad. A great guy, just a great guy.
Which figures did you do?
Pardon?
Which figures did he do?
He did, gee whiz. He did the Lexington Green figures. He did the American Rangers. A lot of other ones whose names escape me right now. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was great. And the one guy was really fun to work with was Steve Lortz, who did the Pirates. And I think they stepped right out of an N.C. Wyeth painting. I just thought they were fabulous figures. And then when we were thinking of doing War with Mexico, he sculpted a set of Mexicans for me and sent them to me. And I swear to goodness sake, they looked like guys that they looked like pirates dressed up as Mexicans. And he was still and so I realized that sometimes guys are great sculptors, but they just can't quite switch genres. And so I probably worked with 14 or 15 people. The one guy who stuck around the longest was by far was a Jim Klaus.
Yeah, I mean, you guys became a real
Beautiful
partner.
work on the buildings. He did, Fort William Henry. He did all our castle stuff. I sculpted Fort Ticonderoga and Fort Clatsop and the last of the Mohicans Rock, but I had to give it up because bending over a bench and working on that detail work, I have arthritis in my neck. And I just, it used to hurt so much. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. To save a few bucks, I'm going to hire somebody else to do it. And they do better work too, I think.
You got another question from the chat room. John V wants to know what was the most problematic set to make?
Problematic set to make. It might have been Robin Hood because the problem with Robin Hood was that two big problems came about. I got the figures and they were very nice, sent them to the mold makers because I thought this could be something we could make a lot of. So I was going to use China for that and do injection molding. And they said, yeah, it'll be good. But if you have more relief in your figures, things have to pop a little more or else your detail is going to get lost. And so I had to send them to another sculptor who added some some relief to it, I was never really pleased with those figures. And then with the castle, we got all the castle molds made, and I got a quote, and they started making them, and went back. And this is I'm not criticizing anybody, but they just said, well, can't do it for what we said we were going to do. We're going to have to charge you, $4,000 more. And it was like, yikes. And so we had to readjust all our pricing at the last minute, and it was very touch and go as to whether that was even going to come out.
You had another problem earlier today that you told me about, a certain cactus. You want to tell them about that?
Yeah. No, it's kind of funny. In the War with Mexico set, and remind me, I want to tell you what happened with the Mexican militia on that set. That's pretty funny. Maybe that was the most problematic. We sculpted a beautiful little cactus. And I think it's on the national flag of Mexico. There's an eagle standing on a cactus, and we did that, and a beautiful little eagle on this cactus. And then we got it out of the mold, and we set it up. Well, the cactus would not stand up because it was too top heavy, and that eagle, bam, they'd always fall down. So we clipped off the eagle. So if you see the prickly pear cactus in that set, they all had eagles on them that got clipped off and thrown away. And I think a few were sent with the eagle on. And if you have that, you're a lucky guy. I don't have one. And that's pretty neat. And the other thing is the sculptor who was doing the figures for me on that set was she got the Americans done, but a couple of them were in the wrong scale. It was the kneeling firing guy was every bit as tall as the standing firing guy. It was like they didn't have giants on the the army then. And so she got me those, and then she never delivered the Mexicans. I was going to do Mexican army, and I said there was 10 days before the Chicago show when we were to debut the set. What do I do? Well, I found Jay Richardson, and Jay converted a couple guys that were Civil War casualties into Mexican casualties. And then he quickly stayed up all night and sculpted 5 more guys. We sent them to the production guys in Indiana. They pulled a couple all-nighters, and we were selling the sets at the Chicago show without a bag of Mexicans. The Mexicans arrived that Saturday. And I said, here's your set. Come back Saturday for your bag of Mexicans. And I said, well, weren't you worried that people were going to lie and say they really bought the set when they had? And I said, you're dealing with a group of guys that are honest, wonderful people. Nobody would do that. And I was right. Came out perfect. Everybody got their bag of Mexicans, and we were able to make everybody happy. And I went home and slept for 3 days, I think.
Yeah. I was worried about your marriage and at the shows, just how you had your wife running back and forth.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember one year when we did the castles, we actually rented a large truck to store the castles in, because we couldn't even have more than a couple up in the room because they came in 2 great big boxes. And Marianne would bring up 3 castles on her wheeled cart, and she'd sell 1 or 2 on the way up to the room. And we have to go back down and get more. I'm sorry, I gotta go get more. And we kept shoveling them in because guys who collected metal liked the castle too. And we sold a lot of castles to the metal collectors too.
Oh.
Ron, I know you showed me some figures earlier today that weren't produced. Do you still have those handy, or do you?
I do. What's fun is to go back a little bit. I was telling Paul that the level of detail on some of the Marx figures was so great, and I wanted to replicate that. And here is from remember the nursery rhyme set?
Yep.
There's the Pie Man. Look at the detail on that guy. Isn't that great? Yeah, beautiful figure. Just beautiful figures. And here's the boy Jack. Here's Jack climbing the beanstalk. And these are some of my favorite Marx figures, just because I know that they're beautiful, beautiful detailed figures. I had the first figure I ever had sculpted just to see if somebody could do it was a friend of a relation to Paul Amodi, the collector.
Yeah.
And here's the very first Barzso figure sculpted. It was an Arab, standing firing Arab. I think I paid $50 for it, and it was I think it was that Sculpey stuff, air dry Sculpey. So it was wasn't exactly what we thought we were going to do, but I kept it for fun. Here's a Viking. Again, we never made it, but never made a Viking set, but the sculptor gave me this as his example, and it's a pretty good figure.
That would have gone nice with the
That's
marks.
nice.
Yeah, but as you can see, his sword is a little exaggerated. I'll get this right here. Come on, get it. There we go. You see his sword's a little off, and I was kind of a stickler for accuracy. A couple more Vikings. Jim Holloway did these for me, but again, not the right scale. Never made this guy. It's a berserker.
Mhm.
Oh, look at that.
Big belly guy. Cool braid on the back.
Oh, neat.
Beautiful.
And then here's the Bowman from that set.
No.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
kind of a nice figure.
The set that could have been.
Yeah,
right.
I was going to do Lindisfarne, where the Vikings attacked the monks, and and then here's a piece that didn't fit in the mold. It didn't make it into and we didn't want to make a whole extra mold for it. This piece was a little accessory that was supposed to go in the Mike Fink set. And it's just a little sign that says whiskey. I don't see. Can you make out the word whiskey on there?
Yeah.
Right there.
Cool, fun little piece. Yep, there you go. So those are and this one figure I brought down is probably the rarest Barzso figure. It came in the original Rogers Ranger set, and it was incredibly difficult to get out of the mold. The part line was crazy, and so we discontinued this after maybe 50 sets. And so if you have one of these, you're looking at something that's pretty rare. There you go. All right. More questions?
If you wouldn't mind, I put that little slideshow. If you could walk us through some of those pictures that I.
Oh, sure.
If I can just throw that up real quick and maybe give us.
Okay, Battle of Yorktown. That was our final set. I mean, final complete play set. And that was a lot of fun. Again, all the figures were by Jim Holloway. And what's interesting is this actually was sort of a collaborative effort between LOD and us. I had sold him all those molds, and he, in turn, gave me a bunch of free figures to put in the play set, and then we just did the design for the Redoubt number 10, and we actually went out and took photos of the Redoubt in Yorktown to get it right, and all of the parts. I don't think there are any original accessories in that one. We were just using up what was in stock. That's the one playset that was pretty profitable for us because we reused a lot of stuff on it. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yep. There were only about 130 of those made.
Of course, there's the
Last of the Mohicans.
the one that made the mark for you, I would say, right?
Oh, I just love that set, and the box art to me was just stunning. There was a high school teacher from Wheaton, Illinois, did that box art for us. I thought he just did a magnificent job, and I had fun doing the rock, and we did try a different process for the buildings. We did a rotational molding, where you open up a mold and then you put the material in the mold, and it's a thermoset resin, which means it took maybe 15 minutes for it to completely harden. And they would just rotate the mold, and it would coat the mold with the material. And then it would harden, and you'd open the mold, take that piece out, pour the stuff in again. And we only used it for this one set. We did do a log cabin with the rotational molding process, but it was just too time consuming, and the guys didn't want to do it at the factory, and so I actually gave those machines to a company here in Elgin, Illinois, that made movie props.
Oh,
And they use it for
How are you able to get the signed autograph from Magua?
Well, what happened is I realized Daniel Day-Lewis was too big a star to ask him to do it. But I thought, Wes Studi is kind of a second-tier star. He's in all these neat Indian movies and stuff, and maybe he would do it. So I got a hold of his agent, and you can find the names of agents to people pretty easily back in the day. And still, I'm sure it's probably even a lot easier now with the internet. And this was in the late 90s. And I talked to the agent and I said, I'm about to propose to you the smallest deal he'll ever have, but it's a guaranteed deal. I will give him $500, $1 per signature, and I will send him the pen I want him to use. I'll send him the pictures. I'll send him the box that he can then put them back in and ship them back to me. It's nothing. And I said, and the other thing is, can I deliver the pictures so I can meet him? And he called me back the next day and said, Wes says yes to everything. So we had planned to go to Santa Fe and deliver them, but time ran out that summer. And so I had to mail them to Wes. Wes mailed them back a couple of weeks later. And what's fun for me is that you see that signature in different places from photo to photo. So he really did sign them, and that's really his autograph. So those are pretty cool.
That's a cool story.
The other fun one was, we got Fess Parker to sign all those photos in the Daniel Boone set, and that was really cool because I talked to his lawyer, and I said, I'd love. Is there any way possible? And he started saying, Fess would really love me to be a picture of me, his lawyer, in the set as the superintendent of the stockade. And I said, I think we can do that. And it became sort of a quid pro quo. I'll make a figure of you if you get Fess to sign these pictures. And Fess, he told me that Fess did 20 or 30 a day until he got done, because at the time he was still not in the best health, and signed him 20, 30 a day, sent them all to us, and we put them in the play sets, and those are worth a lot of money, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool stories.
that's awesome.
Great fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This might be a Joe. Is this a Joe Baker picture?
That is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. Rangers on the Lake, sculpted by Ken Olsen. And what's cool is I could only afford to do the whaleboat, the rower, and the tillerman. And when I got the order back from Ken, he had included the scout in front with the musket seated across his lap. He said, you got to have a scout up front. And he just threw it in. And I thought that was awfully nice of him.
Wow. Neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, there's the one that started everything. It was really, really a lot of fun. And, quite honestly, I thought this was going to be our first and last set, because the figures, when we first came out with them, were very brittle. And I thought we're having to replace too many figures. People love the set, but the figures are too brittle. I think we're done. And then just as we were getting ready to wrap up production, my guys in Indiana said, Ron, we found a way to make flexible resin figures. And that, the rest, as they say, is history. I got real lucky there.
Neat.
Awesome.
This is the one that got me started on your play sets. Thanks to Joe Baker.
That's Lexington Green. There's a Joe Baker for you. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Just again, what's interesting there is the British caused us no end of problems. There was a shift at the factory in China, and they were using way too much mold release. After you pull the figures out of the mold, you spray in a little bit of mold release. Well, somebody got lazy and sprayed way too much so they'd be easier to pull out. What happened is the mold release fused with the figures. And we started getting complaints about figures getting dusty and gray looking. So we had to wash all the figures before we packaged them, and the dusty look would come back after just a month or so. And so luckily, Bill McMaster of BMC Toys was our go-between there, and I told Bill about the problem, and they replaced all of the British, including shipping, for free. And I thought that was very classy, very, very classy. Yeah.
Good things. Heard good things about that factory.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a sweatshop by any stretch of the imagination either. It was a nicely run facility. So there you go.
And if you're wondering where that grass mat is, I own it now. I bought that from Joe Baker.
Cool.
I love it so much, man.
There's Bushy Run. That place that is in the Bushy Run Museum, by the way. They called and asked. They were short of exhibits, and they were using a lot of volunteer help, and they begged and begged, and I sent them a set, and I thought that was awfully nice of them to put that in. And also what is the one that was before that? That's the another French War one. What? Pardon?
The Civil War fort?
No, it was I'm talking about not Bushy Run, but the one before Bushy Run. Anyway, there's
Braddock's Defeat.
Braddock's Defeat. The Braddock's Defeat set was painted by a high school group, and then was in the Fort Pitt Museum. And it still might be, I don't know. But that was kind of fun. The one museum that has a lot of Barzso figures is the Cumberland Gap National Park. Has several dioramas, and there's one with early Native Americans using the Cumberland Gap, and it's all Barzso Indians. There's Civil War figures and pioneers, and those three dioramas of the five are almost all Barzso figures, which was a lot of fun to see for me, because I didn't know it. And Roger Ross took me to the museum and said, "Go look at the dioramas, Ron." And I looked at them and was like, "Those are our figures. How much fun is that?" You know?
Oh wow!
Yeah, beautifully painted, of course. Yeah, yeah. There's Bushy Run, or no, that's Braddock's Defeat. And Braddock's Defeat, we actually went to the museum at Fort Ligonier and took photos of all of the artillery train, and hundreds of photos, and sent them to the sculptors so all those carts looked right. And then I sculpted the rocks, and the rocks key in several places, so you could buy several rocks and kind of make a whole range of rocks together.
Those are the most useful accessories of anything.
Oh, yeah.
We tried. I always love the accessories.
Yeah, that's a quote that has stuck with me for especially reading the book, that Ron says, "I'm an accessories guy," and I identify with that so much, because to me, figures without accessories, without buildings, are not. I can't. You need them.
Yeah. It's just fun. I just love the little boxes and barrels and stuff.
Yes.
Now, Ron, before you talk about these next couple slides I put in here,
yes,
I put them in here for a reason. I'm thinking to myself, here's a guy that's great in the French and Indian War and Revolutionary War. What possessed you to do these next couple sets? Because they are like sets nobody's ever heard of or nobody ever made. And I'm like, the conquistadors. Exactly. I mean, who thinks of that? It's just like.
Well, if you'll notice, the Lewis and Clark set was released on the 200th anniversary of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and I sculpted Fort Clatsop, which I thought turned out pretty well. But then for the boat, can't remember who did that. I think maybe Jay Richardson did do the boat too. I'm not sure, but there's a museum in Alton, Illinois, that has a replica of the keel boat, and we know what it looks like because in the diaries, the Lewis and Clark diaries, they had drawings of the boat and drawings of the fort too. And so we had somebody go down there. A friend's wife went down who lived in the area and just took a couple hundred photos, gave it to the sculptor, and he did a great job. Just a great job, yeah, on that one. And it was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. It was a slow seller. I can tell you, we only made 200 of those sets because there wasn't enough conflict.
Yeah.
People like two sides. They want to battle.
So, what possessed you to do this one? The Conquistadors and Aztecs.
I was just kind of out there. I thought the whole subject matter was wild. I love reading history, and I had recently read a book called Aztec, and it was a novel about the Aztec Empire and the conquistadors coming to town, and just a wild story. If you ever get a chance to read any of that history, it's really, really interesting. Yeah.
And of course, just so everybody knows, I owned a Pontiac Aztec for 15 years.
Does that count?
That's funny. That's funny.
Lewis and Clark, same thing. I mean, just kind of you wanted to do it, nobody else did one.
Well, right around that time, Undaunted Courage, the book by Stephen Ambrose, had come out, and I thought it would just be really interesting to do. You know, I thought it was a really fun thing. There's the Treasure Island. I always wanted to do. I thought pirates were so much fun, and if you notice, I didn't do a whole lot of regular army figures. I always thought the militias and the guys that were kind of irregulars were a lot more interesting. And so the Treasure Island set was a lot of fun. We eventually took those figures that were on the good guys side and called them American Militia. We just repurposed them so that we could have some fun, you know, with it.
Yep.
And I took quotes from the book and put them on the packaging of the bags. And and what's fun is, if you notice, I don't know how many people know this, but the Treasure Island box has the names of 14 most prominent characters from the book hidden within the artwork, either on the front or the back. Some of it you have to use a mirror image. It might be in the scroll work of a gun, but there are 14 names, and I think I can find 5 of them anymore. It's terrible. It's terrible.
That's awesome.
Ron, you also said that there was another box made that was different color.
Yeah. I want to show that to you. When we would do these boxes that were silk screened, and we were told you can't, the ink won't dry on cardboard. It can't be done. But I found a company, local company, very creative people. They just ran it through the dryer a couple more times, and it worked fine. But this is a brilliant box. This is our only 4-color box. You have the white background, and then there's blue, red, and gold, and black. And so 5 color. But so they did a test run of 4 boxes, and then you come down and look at the test run, and then you say yes or no. And they did the 4 boxes, and I said, guys, it looks good. There's something wrong with the box, and I can't put my finger on it. And I'm going to show you the box. Can we get this box, Paul?
Yeah, I can switch you right to the middle. There you go.
Here's the box that they showed me. Can you see what they did wrong?
Well, the red is the blue area now, right?
The red is the blue, and the blue is the red. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there are 4 of these made. I have 2 of them. A good buddy, Tom Stark, has one, and I think we sent one out by accident. So somebody's got.
I bet Joe Baker has it.
No, not me. No.
Somebody's got that box, and I think that's pretty neat.
Oh, wow.
I would think that would be worth a few bucks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next here.
Whoa.
Shores of Tripoli, same thing, man. It's like, I don't think anybody's made a play set of this, right? I mean,
well, again, it's part of U.S. history, and it's a fascinating part of U.S. history. The U.S. Congress authorized a group of guys to go to war, you know, our country to go to war with the Tripolitan pirates, and they sent 7 Marines, and the 7 Marines recruited a bunch of Arab mercenaries, and they snuck into the harbor and destroyed a bunch of ships just the seven. I mean, it's an unbelievable story, and that's where Decatur, Stephen Decatur, got to be such a famous guy. And so we thought it'd be a fun one to do, and that has very unique accessories again. Big earthen jars and a real cool fountain and all that kind of stuff, and none of it was really able to be repurposed. And that's the one that also and we had a hard time researching the uniform that the Marines would use in 1805 or 1803. And so I found a small Marine museum in Arkansas, and I called them, and I got a gunnery sergeant, a retired gunnery sergeant, who said, I will help you. We have that uniform in a glass case. He took the glass case off and took a bunch of photos of it, sent them to me. I sent him the playset as a thank you when it came out. And later on, he was retiring and they couldn't get anybody else to run it. So they were closing the museum. And I said, well, now, you should sell that playset because I think it's worth some money. And he said, I will take this playset to my grave. I love it. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's a cool story, man.
Yeah.
So I think I got one more, maybe two.
Okay, there's the Mike Fink keelboat set.
That's
The
the fun
fun
picture.
the fun part for us is I had so many different wonderful people do the artwork for our box art. There was a TV show that I must confess I never watched. An animator who was the lead animator for a TV show back in the would it be 80s, maybe early 90s, called Angry Beavers. Never saw it, but oh well. And he said, I would like to do the box art for you on your next playset. And I said, I can't afford you. And he said, no, you can afford me. You don't even have to pay me. I just want to do it. And so I gave him $50 and the artwork. And I thought the artwork was pretty cool for that one.
That is neat.
Yeah. And yep. And there's the Fort William Henry. And the Fort William Henry was a lot of fun because it came after the Fort Ticonderoga, and I wanted it to be smaller because Fort Ty was just too big, and guys were starting to complain about not having enough room. And so Jim Klaus did this, and I bought a couple of bags of sand, dumped them out on a table, and we kind of tried to figure out how big we wetted the sand and tried to kind of make a fort. And we realized it had to be that size, and I think it is a half-inch smaller than Fort Ticonderoga. But we used the blueprints from the movie to make that fort.
The only time I've seen this fort all together is George Kroll's house.
Oh.
I mean, he has
cool.
it, and it's
Cool,
amazing.
yeah.
It is huge.
You would have seen it in Chicago. McShawn's usually has either that Ticonderoga or this one set up on their bed.
Yeah.
The cook.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really
amazing.
Fun. Yep.
Yeah. So
I think seeing your book there, we need to give a shout out to Len Hart.
Lovely guy. Recently, he was in Chicago. He lives down in Florida right now, and Len was in for some surgery. He's had some health challenges, and he's a wonderful guy, and all our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, and he's going to do fine. He'll be fine.
He actually messaged me today and said he'd love to come on the show in the future. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Oh, he'd make a great guest. I wanted to show you a couple books. Do we have time?
This is your show, sir. I could talk to you for a couple hours, but poor Rick's medication kicks in pretty soon, so we gotta.
All right. This is a great book. Bill Chimerka is the guy that introduced me to Fess Parker. Bill was a huge Alamo fan, and Fess Parker happened to be at the Alamo, and he was so impressed because Bill could sing all the verses of Davy Crockett, and I guess there are a lot of verses to it, and so they became buddies and they traveled together and stuff. And when Fess passed away, Bill was asked by the family to write his biography, and it's so thrilling for me. In the back of the book, Fess talked about how of all the endorsed deals that he did, he enjoyed ours the most because he thought it was the most faithful to the show. And sometime I'll tell you the long story about meeting Fess Parker. It was what a wonderful man he was, you know.
You know,
And then this, somebody asked me where I got some inspiration. This is a book by Edwin Tunis, famous illustrator and a great guy. Can you see this right here?
Mule Train.
Pack horse train right there. Yeah, we based it on that. And then also there's a picture that maybe some of you remember from a ranger camp. Here's the lean-to.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Got that.
So there you go.
Man.
Yeah. And a shout out to Chris Vogler and Alan Adler from 20th Century Fox. Chris wrote a very, very, one of the favorite books of all time. It's called The Writer's Journey. And it talks about how all stories have the same themes and the structure. And it's just absolutely fascinating. He was I believe one of the consultants on Last of the Mohicans. And I cannot tell you how great a book this is. I just really, really enjoyed it. And when you watch a movie now, you'll say, yep, it's following the theme. It's following the correct theme. A lot of fun.
A couple questions I want to ask you that I ask all my guests when they're on the show. If you got a minute yet?
Sure.
First off, where do you see the 1/32 scale going?
Well, I think as far as cost goes, it's all it'll be 3D printed. I have friends who have 3D printers and they print thousands of guys and they're beautifully detailed. They do cannons, they do buildings. I'm currently enamored with a company called Spira, which Joe Baker is also quite a fan of and has a relationship with. And I paint 65 millimeter medieval guys, and they have, I think at last count there were about 2,600 different poses.
Wow.
And they will make any size you want. And so I get them made at 65 millimeters, so they go with my Elastilin figures and with my Barzso figures. And I mean, and maybe 200 or 300 of those are civilians. And it's so much fun for townspeople. They have people making barrels. They have tavern owners. They have people getting drunk, getting into fights, people throwing up. It's unbelievable. the range of figures you can get. Yeah, for real. Yeah. I don't buy the puking guys, but they have.
Have you ever seen Anthony Webb's medieval group website?
No.
Oh man,
No, I
on
haven't.
Facebook.
No.
If you want to see great paint jobs on 28 millimeter medieval, I mean, it's so good. Medieval dioramas, I think it is, the Facebook group.
Okay, great. Yeah, great fun.
Next
Great
question.
fun.
Did you have a
Yeah.
favorite toy as a child growing up?
Well, it was, yes, I must confess. I was in junior high school and I still played with toy soldiers and I didn't talk about it except for my close buddies. And for Christmas, I got a Ben-Hur playset. And I remember feeling very guilty in church on Christmas morning because I was supposed to be paying attention to all the stuff that was going on. And all I could think about was getting home and playing with my Ben-Hur set. You know,
Is that your best childhood memory of play, or do you have something different? I was going to ask you that next.
Well, one time we did used to have gigantic naval battles in the backyard of my buddy. We were into making Navy, warships from World War II, and I had battleships and aircraft carriers and stuff, and we'd pretend war game. War game wasn't a thing, but we war gamed. And like, oh, my aircraft carrier just destroyed your battleship, and you'd have to put it back in your wagon because you lived 2 blocks away. That was Ricky Lodeski, and I had a lot more ships than him, but darn, he just kept sinking mine. I don't know what happened.
That's a good story.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Ron, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. I'm sorry we kept you a little bit longer than normal, but like I said, I could talk to you for a couple hours, man. I hope you come back again.
Happy to do it again sometime. Happy to do it. I got a million of them. I mean, my wife and I are huge baseball fans, and all our kids play baseball. Our grandkids are all playing baseball, and big White Sox fans. And back in 2009, I'll tell you the story next time about how we met. Ozzie Guillen, the manager of the White Sox, I was down in his office, and it was all because of Toy Soldiers.
Wow.
Oh,
I met him.
And we're gonna get to see your
There you
man
go.
cave next time too, right? You're gonna give us a
You
tour?
got it.
All
You
right.
got it. Yeah. We'll figure that out. And thank you so much for listening to
Oh,
my
no.
baloney. And I know I talk too much, but
Well, we
it
got
was
one
fun.
more tradition that we like to do on our show, and this
Yeah.
has nothing to do with Toy Soldiers or 132nd scale. We call it the mayonnaise jar question. Okay. So
okay.
my buddy Rick here, he has a mayonnaise jar, and he puts questions in there would have nothing related to Toy Soldiers. So he's going to pull one of those out, and he's going to
Mhm.
ask you, and this is going to give us an idea of what kind of guy you really are. They're serious questions, Ron.
Cool. All right.
You ready,
Go ahead,
Ron?
Sure.
Ron, can you do you have a place you'd like to visit that you've never been to?
Yes. Hadrian's Wall
Hmm.
up in northern England. I just think that's a fascinating piece of history. And I maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there. Jim Klaus and I would. I know we went to England 1 year and took hundreds of photographs of castles before we came out with our castle. We went to Rome to take pictures of the Colosseum, and boy, oh boy, I would love to see the remnants of Hadrian's Wall.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, there.
Very good.
Once again, I want to thank everybody in the chat room. Ron, it's been an honor and a privilege, sir, and I'm looking forward to having you back on the show.
Yes.
You got it. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Ron. Thank you.
Great to see you, Ron.
Guys,
Nice
have a
to
great
meet you.
week.
Nice to meet you.
See some of you at the
Oh,
Chicago
yeah,
show.
def-